The Boston Bruins win 4-2 over the Chicago Blackhawks on the road in the second game of a back-to-back, and now officially can say they're on a first 3-game winning streak of the season. I'll admit they beat 3 teams they should have beat, but because they've struggled this year, I'm taking the win and being happy about it. As always, I will go over the highs and lows of the Boston Bruins 4-2 win over the Chicago Blackhawks. So buckle up, Bruins fans. I'm here to give you the latest info on your beloved Boston Bruins. If you've been liking my Bruins content, please leave me a like and subscribe. If you've already done so, thank you, and let's get into it. Before the game, the NHL announced their rosters for the Four Nations tournament, which will be held this year instead of the All-Star game. Charlie McAvoy and Brad Marchand had already been announced for their respective countries, but Jeremy Swayman was added to Team USA and Elias Lindholm was added to Team Sweden. I've spoken at lengths to the line juggling that Montgomery did before he was fired, and Sacco has done the complete opposite and barely changed up the lines. He spoke briefly about why he hasn't been changing up the lines before the game.
You've been fairly static with the lineup. As a product of winning 5 out of 7, is that what it is?
I think that's fair. I think some of the guys have responded well and over those course of the games. We've got good production from guys, and if they're not producing, they're doing other things well. I like where we're at right now. I think we've created a line with Coyle, Freddie, and Casti right now that seems to be a hard line to play against. They're checking well. I like our fourth line. They're responsible defensively right now. So it's almost of the mindset of 2 checking lines and 2 lines. Hopefully that can create some offense.
I do think the players needed some consistency, and constantly having new line mates makes it hard to get into a rhythm. I have no issues trying something if you don't like the matchup or if you're not seeing enough, but what Montgomery was doing I felt was a little bit desperate, and he never let a line breathe. I think after these last couple of games, Sacco has seen what he is going to get from these lines and knows what to expect now moving forward. Going into this game, I said the Bruins needed to show up, and they did, but not right off the bat. We were looking at a Chicago Blackhawks team, or should I say, a Boston Bruins team in a Chicago Blackhawks jersey, given we have Pat Maroon, Taylor Hall, Tyler Bertuzzi, Ryan Donato, and Nick Foligno, all on the Chicago Blackhawks. Chicago has won games against good teams, but has struggled all season. They look again to be a lottery team. Swayman, freshly off being named to the Team USA in the Four Nations, gets the start. Unfortunately, it's Chicago who gets on the board first, with Swayman overcommitting to one side, thinking it's going short side, when Chicago elects to hold on to it, pass out front to a wide-open Alex Vlasic, who has far too much net to shoot at, and it's 1-0 Chicago on the 3rd shot of the game. When this goal goes in, I'm thinking it's going to be one of those nights. Chicago came out hard from the puck drop, and the Bruins look like a team that played last night and had to travel. As the period progressed, the Bruins settled down and started to play their game, winning those board battles and clogging up the lanes. At 12:17 of the first, Morgan Geekie takes a shot, drives the net, following up on his own rebound, and gets his 3rd of the season. Period ends and it's 1-1, but the ice has been tilting in the Bruins' favor, and Swayman has been making timely saves. The second period, the Bruins dominate, and their forecheck game starts to shine. They're cycling the puck and making clean zone entries. At 2:58, the captain of the Boston Bruins takes a sweet pass from none other than David Pastrnak and ripped one in the net, and it's 2-1 Boston. I know I've been getting on Pastrnak for not shooting, but man, this was a nice pass. Late in the first period, Sacco does some line juggling and moves Pastrnak onto a line with Marchand and Lindholm and moves Geekie, Zacha, and Brazeau together. That change was right before the Geekie goal in the first. Less than 2 minutes later, Brad Marchand gets his 2nd of the game off a rebound from a Pastrnak shot. With just over a minute left, Jason Dickerson shoots the puck on net, which hits Carlo, and then Zadorov, and then past Swayman. I truly don't even think Swayman saw it or could even track it at all. Third period, the Bruins are applying pressure, and Swayman looks up for the task of winning this hockey game. In the third, the Bruins get 3 power plays, but still can't get anything going, and the power play still looks lost out there. The Bruins look far much better 5-on-5 than they do on the power play right now. At 5:02 into the third period, Morgan Geekie gets a breakaway and scores his 2nd of the game and his 4th of the year. Geekie has struggled this season, so I hope this is him breaking out of his slump because the Bruins desperately need some secondary scoring. The line juggling, which is a first by Sacco, pays off with both lines getting 2 goals apiece. The biggest difference I feel about this line juggling was it wasn't just for a couple shifts, and he kept them like that for the rest of the game. We'll see what he does in their next game against the Flyers on Saturday. At the end of the game, the Bruins outshot the Blackhawks 27-22, outhit them 22-12, and won 62.5% of their faceoffs. The low of the night was the Bruins' power play, which needs to find its groove. The Bruins are still 3rd in the Atlantic and prove their record to 14-11-3, and my hope is they win again on Saturday and go on a run. I want to hear from you, though. What was your highlight of the Bruins' 4-2 win over the Chicago Blackhawks? That's a wrap on today's video. To stay up to date on all the news surrounding the Boston Bruins, please subscribe and drop me a like. If news breaks surrounding the Boston Bruins, be sure to check out the channel. If you've already subscribed to the channel, thank you, and I'll see you next time.